The release of Warhammer 3 is fast approaching, with a mere month to go. To anyone who's been paying attention, we now know a great deal about the game. We have seen the rosters for the different factions, we have had a flyover of the new campaign map, and we have seen the rework that has been applied to sieges. Let's hope those changes make sieges more enjoyable. But with all of those reveals, we still have one burning question. Who holds Grom's member when he needs to pee? I can't imagine he has seen his family jewels in the past decade, so surely he has a minion for that job. I can see it now, the wielder of the mighty schlong. Or perhaps Grom is a man that likes to freestyle it. Well, regardless, let's get to the real burning question. Who is the 9th legendary lord mentioned on Warhammer 3's Steam page? This video will play a bit of the speculation game, a game where I have a less than stellar track record. Well, let's be honest, a shit track record really, but I choose to play regardless. And today I'm going to continue my run and completely miss the mark with my prediction. Should be fun. So what do we know about this mysterious unnamed lord? The blurb on the Steam page says the following. The world stands on a precipice. A single push will plunge it into cataclysm. And there is one who schemes to achieve just that, an ancient figure who desires nothing less than to wield supreme power. But to succeed, he will need a champion. So what can we take from that? Firstly, we have someone in the shadows, scheming and plotting to cause the end of the world, or at least take advantage of it. As they say, never let a good crisis go to waste. Secondly, we see that this mysterious figure is incredibly old. That would certainly narrow down the list of possibilities. Thirdly, our schemer desires supreme power. What would that be? Magical power? Political power? Reliable wind power? He may be in for a disappointment if it's the latter. Finally, and perhaps most intriguing, our power-hungry fellow needs a champion for his plans to succeed. This kind of makes me wonder if they can directly interact with the mortal realm. Are they able to take corporeal form? Will the champion be called upon to help them break through? It's all very intriguing. Who could this 9th Lord be? Well, let's try to narrow down the candidates. We will start with the character that has been suggested the most, Be'lakor, known as the Dark Master and father in shadow to the current ever-chosen Archaon. Be'lakor was the first mortal ever to reach the exalted rank of Demon Prince, through a series of sacrifices and actions that are lost to time. He was granted powers from not one Chaos God, but from all 4 brothers, making him powerful beyond imagining. He desired power for himself, no longer wishing to serve the Dark Gods, so he broke his bargain with them and returned to the mortal realm, where he waged a bloody war across the old world. He drew the barbarians of the north to his banner, making them worship him as their god above all others, and led a conquest that saw many of their elder races wiped from existence, their traditions, their languages, and even their names now long forgotten. He fought a bitter conflict with both the elves and the dwarves, among the few races who could manage to survive, though most certainly not unscathed, as many elven cities and dwarven hulls fell to his wrath. With each conquest, his power only seemed to grow, but paradoxically, each victory also edged him closer to his ultimate downfall. Though he had betrayed the Chaos Gods and waged a war for his own desires, they would get the last laugh, as he had unwittingly been doing their bidding the entire time. As chaos spread across the lands, and the Chaos Gods' reach into the mortal realm increased, a number of Be'lakor's followers were ascended to demon princes by the Dark Gods, each drawing a little of Be'lakor's power. They would go on to challenge his status as supreme leader and create their own territories, fighting amongst themselves and with Be'lakor for supremacy. The elves saw an opportunity in the great conflict between the demons and managed to create the vortex to siphon chaos and magic from the world. In doing so, the demon princes and many of their minions were drawn into the vortex and banished back to the realm of chaos, a fate that not even Be'lakor, with his strong ties to the mortal realm, could avoid. Ever since then, Be'lakor has been at the mercy of the Chaos Gods, permitted only to cross to the mortal world to crown the new Ever-Chosen and serve as their advisor, and when they failed, as 12 have done throughout history, Be'lakor would be pulled back to the Chaos Realms to continue his punishment. He desires nothing more than to throw off his shackles and return to the mortal realm on his terms, whether the Chaos Gods wish it or not. So, from Be'lakor's lore, he does indeed seem to fit many of the points from the blurb on the Steam page. He is scheming to break free from his captors, and has been for a very long time. He is an ancient being, having spent millennia in the Chaos Realm time and time again. He desires the power and domination over the world that he once had, believing it to be his destiny. And to break free from the will of the Dark Gods, he needs a champion, someone he can manipulate into performing the rituals to once again release him. He really does seem to fit the bill, and I can see why he is the firm favourite. However, let's take a look at some other possibilities. How about Nagash, the granddaddy of the undead who mastered the dark arts long before it was fashionable to do so? Known by many aliases, the Great Necromancer, the Great Betrayer, the Undying King, or simply He Who Shall Not Be Named, Nagash is the ultimate personification of death. An ancient, benevolently evil being who sought supreme power over all the inhabitants of the world, seeking to usher in an age of undeath that will rule through eternity. The father and creator of the foul art of necromancy, and lord over all vampires. He once came very close to ultimate domination, but was thwarted by the sacrifice of an unsung hero. As the generations have passed, he's become little more than a legend. Much like Be'lakor, Nagash fits the description very well. He is gathering power, manipulating pawns in an effort to regain his mortal form. He is an ancient being, though not to the same degree as Be'lakor, but then what's a few millennia between rivals? There is no doubt that he desires ultimate power, wanting to transform the world into his own domain. And finally, much like Be'lakor, he will need the aid of a champion to return to exact his revenge. So we have Be'lakor, we have Nagash. Are there any other possibilities? Well, I do wonder of the figure in the background and the required champion, which will be the playable lord. What if it were the champion and not the mysterious figure? If this is the case, then another possibility exists, one that ties directly into one of the endings of the Vortex campaign in Warhammer 2. What if the mysterious figure, scheming for ultimate power, is the supreme god of the Skaven, the Horned Rat? At the end of Game 2, playing as Skaven, we see his control of the Vortex, opening a way to the Horned Rat's realm. But what if he needs more before he can join his children on the mortal plane? The champion, which would be the playable lord, would have to finish the ritual, or whatever the task to facilitate his arrival. And who would be better to fulfill that role than Thanquol? It would make a great narrative for Thanquol's appearance in Game 3, and would have a Skaven in the game from launch. Both good things. Thanquol is perhaps the most infamous Grey Seer the Skaven Under Empire has ever known, and is a favoured agent of the Council of 13. He's ambitious, self-serving, even by the standards of the Skaven. He would certainly have the guts to attempt the feat of bringing the world to a cataclysm in the Horned Rat's name. And Thanquol's appearance on behalf of the Great Horned Rat would be one hell of a turnout. So there we have the most talked about possibility with Be'lakor, a viable alternative with Nagash, and a crazy, sneaky rat with Thanquol. If I had to choose between which of these three options I personally want to see, then I'd go Nagash, as he is the one I played with on the tabletop and have longed to see for quite some time. But I'm not here to choose my favourite, I'm here to make a prediction. So, based on my reading of the blurb, the tie-in to Game 2, and the possibility of bringing the Skaven into Game 3 from the start, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that I think Thanquol will be the 9th legendary lord, with the mission to complete the Horned Rat's passing into the mortal realm. Now, over to you guys. How far off the mark am I this time? Who do you think the lord will be, and why? If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, share and subscribe. The interaction is good for the channel and feeding that almighty algorithm. I'd like to thank my patrons, Hot Apple Pie, Alexander and Solarith Magnetar for the continued support. I'm Grey Tiger, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.